That thing's got a battery, right?
It's plugged in over there.
I know that. In case you kick it, that thing's got a battery, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who are those people?
They put it on the website. Plus, we're streaming it now. So like, yeah, so like, we have to stream it up there.
Like kids, you gotta rope them together. Oh, they get cut up here.
Said she was wearing something black.
They cut the poison ivy. Poison ivy. Serious people that didn't decorate their town. Game of Thrones. There she is. MJ! MJ!
She was about how many months?
Yeah. the line jam. Then they got Drake. Are those Dracos? Drake?
We're grateful for this unending game of hide-and-seek, for the mysteries that lie in the heart of the universe, and for the curiosity that awakens our interest in learning more. And we're grateful for these special men and women who have distinguished themselves with a hunger to improve their lives and the lives of others by seeking out knowledge and wisdom and new opportunity. As our graduates complete this part of their journey, help them as they prepare for the next. In the face of an uncertain future, shine a light on their path and grant them confidence to venture boldly. In a world that's often torn apart by hatred and injustice, give them the compassion to seek a different way forward and the perseverance to live it out. And at a time when we need fresh solutions to age-old problems, grant them inspiration and creativity so that they can do their very best with whatever they have to improve the world wherever they are. For this we pray. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Amy Staff, Vice President of Academic Affairs, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you this morning to the 145th Commencement of William Wood University. This is a great occasion for celebration. So in order to minimize the interruptions, I ask that you please check your cell phones at this time to ensure that they are silenced. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the platform party that joins me on the stage this morning. I'll begin at your far left. Mr. Dale LaRue, Member, Board of Trustees. Good morning. Okay, so let me summarize for those of you that I'd like to welcome you. Oh, that's good. Okay. I'd like to welcome you to the 145th commencement of William Wood University. I've asked that you please silence your cell phones to minimize interruptions during the ceremony. And now I'm going to introduce the platform party. Joining me on the stage, beginning at your far left, Mr. Dale LaRue, Member of Board of Trustees. You can hold your applause till the end of this. Mr. Dan Westhughes, Member of Board of Trustees. Dr. Gina Loudon, author and commentator for Fox News and your commencement speaker. Dr. Janae H. Barnett, President. On the other side, the Reverend Travis Tamarius, University Chaplain. Dr. Doug Ebersold, Dean of Education. Professor Lee Bailey, Dean of Business. Dr. Linda Davis, Faculty Marshal. And Dr. Tom Frankman, Assistant Faculty Marshal. And now, please join me in welcoming President Barnett to the podium to introduce your speaker.
Good morning, y'all. It's been an interesting morning already, but we only changed plans probably about 14 times, but we came up with a solution, and it was our undergraduate students who made the decision, so thank you guys, it worked well. We're fortunate today to have several members of the Board of Trustees, spouses, and guests of the speaker who are joining us for this very special occasion. For those of you who are guests of the speaker, would you just stand and let us recognize you? Thank you, thank you. Thank you, we welcome you. And we certainly welcome you. Friends, family, those of you who have gathered to honor our most special guests, the graduates of 2015. As I look out, and I emailed you earlier this week, and I talked about how I really enjoy when I can invite a commencement speaker who is a graduate of William Woods and has become successful in their chosen career to come back and address you. And then I ended that email by saying, this morning, I will be looking at you and watching you for the next several years, because more than one of you will return to be our commencement speaker because you have become so successful in your chosen career. So think about that as we process through this ceremony, and we talk, we give you words of advice, and we send you on your way. Think of that as you cross the stage. Will you be the one who comes back to address us in 10, 20 years? Dr. Gina Loudon is a 1990 graduate of William Woods University. That's a very special year for me because that's the year that I became your president. She is host of American Trends with Dr. Gina. She's the best-selling author of 2 books and a popular TV and radio guest. Her psychological, political, and social commentary is in high demand on networks around the world, including Fox News, Fox Business, C-SPAN, ABC, Al Jazeera, BBC, and many, many more. Her reach extends beyond news into primetime entertainment. She has appeared on a primetime reality show on ABC and Jon Stewart's daily show on Comedy Central. From an early age, her father debated political issues with her. She enjoyed the dialogue, and she continually tested her career placement exams as an ideal broadcast journalist. It's proven to be correct. Gina first started doing a talk show on KJSL in St. Louis, and within a year was regionally syndicated. She moved to Alabama to broadcast from the company's flagship station, WYDE. She was host of the Drive Time Dr. Gina show that was wildly successful and one of the fastest-selling shows on Crawford Broadcasting's family of stations. Gina studied design, communication, and psychology at William Woods, where she was a member of Alpha Chi Omega sorority, and she was very active in many campus activities. She later went on to earn a master's degree from St. Louis University and a master's degree and a PhD from Fielding Graduate University. While at William Woods, Gina met her husband, John. He was a student at Westminster College. John ran for state representative shortly after they were married, and then he ran for a Senate seat, and he was re-elected until he was term limited out of office. During high school, Gina volunteered at Camp Wonderland. Some of you are familiar with this. It's a camp at the Lake of the Ozarks for people with special needs. It is a camp where some of you, our students, have also volunteered. Gina's experience there led her and her husband to search for a child to adopt with special needs. After a 10-year search that included a trip across Russia, visiting orphanages, she and her husband found their son, Samuel. The Loudons have 5 children, including Samuel, and they live on the beach in Southern California. Would we all like to be there now? Gina and her family are passionate about special needs, adoption, civil discourse, and pit bull rescue. They share their home with their beloved French bulldog, Gipper, and their cat, Louie. One day, Gina plans to sail around the world with her family, and I imagine there will be a camera crew. Please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, our graduate, and our friend, Dr. Gina Gentry Loudon. Thank you.
Wow, I can really hardly believe that it's been 25 years, a quarter of a century, since I sat right where you are sitting. And I did the crazy thing 1 week later, I got married. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm glad. And it's been a ride, but it goes by in a blink, you have no idea. You'll be standing here in the blink of an eye, wondering how in the world 25 years passed. Just like so many of us, including your parents who are likely here to applaud you today. And before I even begin, I have to wish all those mamas out there a happy Mother's Day, and especially my own mother who sits right here, because of course that's tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day, mamas. About a lot of things that I do. I've sort of gotten over that thing because I kind of do something that would seem to be a little bit stressful most every day of my life. But I did stress about what in the world I was going to say to you today. I'm not going to lie. And I give speeches all the time. I talk to millions of people at a time sometimes, and if I say one wrong word, I know it's going to be used against me. But how in the world to make an impression, a proper impression upon you? And then it hit me. This is going to be easy. I just had to figure out how to be completely, life-changingly, inspirational, and motivational in 140 characters or less. So you can find me on Twitter at Dr. Gina Loudon. And that's really all you need to know, because that's pretty much how you and I will probably communicate going forward, and I look forward to it. But I do take great comfort today, seriously, in knowing 2 things. One is that if you are looking down at your smartphones right now, the whole time I can just pretend like you're live tweeting the important things that I think I'm saying up here, right? And the fact of the matter is probably that you might not even remember what I say today, because you don't usually remember most of what a commencement speaker says, except if that's Dr. Gina Barnett, who gave my commencement address, and then of course you remember every word of it. Like I remember Dr. Gina Barnett saying that when I come back someday in 25 years to be commencement speaker, Julian would still be bald. I remember her saying that. And I checked, and he is. I threw it out there on social media, as I do sometimes, that I was going to speak here, because sometimes the best ideas come from your friends there who've gone through the similar steps that you're going through in life. And one person that I listen to a lot in social media said, just tell your story. And then he reminded me of something I had posted days before. And in a nutshell, this is my story. I'm calling it Breakfast. Probably didn't think your commencement address was going to be called Breakfast, but here we go. Because essentially, I think that's where you are today. I have a son with Down syndrome, as Dr. Barnett mentioned, and we call him the belly laugh of our family. You know, that deep down giggle that you just only do a few times in maybe a week or a month. He does that every day. And as she said, I have 5 amazing children. My daughter Lily here in the audience today. But I am definitely the most disgustingly sappy mother that there has ever been. It's not pleasant for those who have to watch. But Samuel is really special because somehow, through his Down syndrome, he manages to teach my family the most. Think about that for a moment. And somehow, through his nonverbal communication, he manages to say the most to me about who I am, because he mostly doesn't talk. And somehow, though he doesn't get to do a lot of things that you and I would consider really important, probably the things you're dreaming of today, and most of the things I dreamed of when I sat right where you are, his life is somehow the fullest. And he seems to know that best of all. I'm not a perfect mom, farthest thing in the world from it. My daughter right here could give the whole commencement address on all the things I do wrong in a given week. But I am one of those moms who burns it at both ends because I expect excellence of my children, just like this university expected excellence of you, and just like you expect of yourself. So when someone tells me to slow down, I just simply say, if I'm burning it at both ends, you bring me more wax, because that's where we are at this point in our history, and I believe where you are at this point in your lives. Julian calls that caloric personality for you psych students out there, but I say it's just the way God made us, that we have a drive to go and to do and to learn and to be wiser every day, because that's who we are. Anyway, back to breakfast. One morning in my haste, I forgot to make Samuel breakfast, as I will do sometimes. As I said, I'm not a perfect mom. And I didn't even notice that he was awake before all of the other children, and he had gotten up and made himself a bowl of grits. Yes, we learned that when we lived in Alabama, with honey. And we live right on the sand of the Pacific Ocean, as she mentioned, and I find him out there in this beautiful oasis. He's got the cat next to him, he's got his bowl of grits and honey, he's set it up on the table, he's basking in the sunshine, enjoying the light of the morning and all that a fresh new day can promise. But I was amazed because he made breakfast all by himself, and of course, as a mom who likes to just get in there and do and doesn't always pay attention, I didn't even know he could make breakfast by himself. So I, of course, came in, I smashed a banana to sweeten his grits, and I told him how he amazes me every day, made him a little glass of coconut milk, and was standing in wonder at how smart and capable this little 9-year-old with Down syndrome is, and how he knows how to live life in ways that I have seemingly never understood. And so I snapped a picture and did what all moms do these days and posted it on Facebook and bragged about my child. And then I thought about how amazing his smile is, and that this was the baby they said I was adopting to sign a death certificate. That's what I was told when I adopted him. This was the boy that they said should have been aborted. And what an amazing boy. What an amazing God. And that he could make his own breakfast. How cool is that? So I can certainly tell you that when I was his age, I wasn't as wise as Samuel. And I couldn't have done what he did that morning. I might have been able to make the grits, but I wouldn't have had the wisdom to go sit down and eat it out in the sunshine with a view and a feline friend and all the rest. And I wouldn't have had the patience for it. I didn't understand how important those moments are in the new light of the day. I came to William Woods looking for my life. I did. And like Samuel on that day, one day, brand new freshman, I got up and I went to Tucker for breakfast. And I was going to class, planning to go to class to check on Julian's hair. And a white cargo van pulled up full of frat boys and told me, why don't you get in and go give some blood? Ladies, don't do that. But since I was yet to receive my education from William Woods, I was about as dumb as a box of rocks, and I apparently hopped in that cargo van with no windows and didn't turn up dead in a field by the grace of God. And I met my husband that day at that frat boy blood drive. Julian just shed another hair. I'll tell you something, I think by the end of my speech, he's going to be clean shaven too. It was there. Is there another school here, Dr. Burnett? I don't know. It was there at some other place, in the St. Mary Aldermanbury, where my husband and I first met, and 4 years later, we married. That was 1 week after I sat exactly where you are, exactly 25 years ago, this month. On our honeymoon, we went and chopped on the Berlin Wall alongside Reagan, and we joined him on the steps when he dedicated the sculpture made by Winston Churchill's granddaughter, Edwina Sandys. Freedom and adventure with risk have been the theme of my life and of our marriage. And as I said, next month we'll celebrate 25 years. We get to go to Israel, so we're quite excited about that. It is no mistake that I'm here with you today. And so here we are. And what can I possibly say to prepare you for this voyage into the abyss? Because you know that's where you're headed, right? I had the honor of coming to campus last year and talking about my book, as Dr. Barnett mentioned, and the book was called What Women Really Want. So I thought a lot about what do I, as a woman, really want? And I know many of you are thinking the book, What Women Really Want, would have to be an encyclopedia, not a book, and you're right about that. But in that book, I tell the story of my moment. You will have your moment too. That moment when God himself shakes you and says, "Wake the heck up, you idiot!" Okay, maybe that's just what he said to me, but I had a little radio show at the time on a tiny Christian station in St. Louis, and I was happily married to my husband, who was a senator, and I was happy in my life as a mom who got to stay out of the fray and the dirtiness of politics and take a pass on any of the real ugliness of life. But I got to enjoy my freedom every day until that moment. Like many moments, you eat breakfast, you have no idea what's coming, but it's coming. I had a woman on my show that day from Austria. She was in her 90s. As a little girl, one day after breakfast, her school let out and directed the children to a newly constructed building with high walls around it. That day, Kitty Worthman found herself sitting across from her mother in a concentration camp. She asked her mother what she was doing while the country was falling to tyranny, and her mother just replied that she had no idea that could happen there. She said, "Well, I was taking you to violin lessons and your sports activities, and I had you in the best schools, and your clothes were ironed every day, and you had a hot breakfast every morning. I was a good mother." She said, "Yes, Mom, but what were you doing to protect us from tyranny? What did you do to preserve our freedom so that all the preparation I'd taken all my life wouldn't be for nothing?" And that moment became my life. I started asking myself this question. If 20 years from today, God forbid, I sit across from my child and they say, "Mother, what were you doing to preserve our freedom? Why is it that we sit in tyranny today?" What would my answer be? And I didn't know for sure what I wanted my answer to be, but I knew I wanted to have an answer that day. And I wake up every morning, I eat breakfast, and then I think about that question. 20 years from now, would I have an answer? And that became my life. That moment jolted me out of my minivan and into your television screen to try to explain to the world, to the best of my ability, why freedom isn't only on the shoulders of our troops, our leaders, and the smart guys who don't seem to mind getting dirty as much as I did. Because politics is nasty, dirty stuff. Freedom is on me, and it's on you. Despite her warm breakfast, the heaviest thing that had ever landed on the shoulder of Kitty Worthman's mother that day as she sat across from her child in a gulag was freedom. I began to devour the great writings of the freedom fighters and the founders of our great nation and the framers of our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and I began to understand freedom by understanding how fragile it is and how quickly it slips away. How does that happen? Those who don't learn from history, doomed to repeat it. You've heard that from Lord Acton. He knew that. And Winston Churchill restated that at Dunkirk when a Nazi invasion seemed imminent. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be, whatever the fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, and we shall never surrender. Those, like Kitty Worthman and her mother, who felt a tyranny in Austria under Hitler, didn't know that they were exchanging their freedoms for free stuff. Those who nestled up in the comfort of equality and government provision in North Korea didn't know they were walking to their own death. This year alone, we've watched new nuclear threats have risen on the world scene. We've seen thousands slaughtered for their religion. We have lost our First Amendment right to those who would terrorize our media and our body politic. We've taken a giant step toward tyranny, but do we even know it? We once lived in the freest nation of the world, and we've watched as our country has gone from one of liberty to one of frailty in some ways. We've forgotten what real freedom is, and we've compromised. Just this week, ISIS has threatened that they have terrorists on the ground in every city, every major city in the country seeking to destroy freedom. William Quantrill, he said, "Raise the black flag and ride it hard, boys, because our cause is just, and our enemies are many. We don't stand alone, facing many enemies. You don't stand alone as you'll face enemies in your future. But I believe believe we are still that shining city on the hill that Reagan described, and it isn't because we are somehow arrogantly better than the rest of the world. It isn't that. So don't let anybody lie to you about that. America is great because America is good. It's because we're good. And you, as graduates of William Woods University, get to carry that torch now, on your own, into the abyss after breakfast. The reality is that we do more, give more, and fight more for freedom than the entire rest of the world, than any other country. Those who stood idly by as our freedom and standing in the world diminished do not understand what might happen right after breakfast, each day. There's never a warning when the fragile bell of freedom tolls. It is deathly quiet as it slips away. You can't hear a whisper. And then suddenly, everything within you screams to go back, to fight, to make noise, to get uncomfortable in whatever ways it takes for you to recapture that precious moment again when you were free. Every Holocaust victim can tell you this, every slave and every prisoner. Freedom, as Reagan said, is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed off to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where we are free. And to me that means one thing. I am called, implored. I get to get so uncomfortable every day that I'm sure I did something that day to preserve my own freedom and that for you and my children. So, graduates, what does that mean to you today? I believe we stand at a pivotal moment in history, and I want to make sure you understand how important your role is in that. 20 seconds can change your life forever, whether you make a decision or someone else makes a decision and imposes it on you. Make sure you make good choices. The choices you make over the next couple of years will have more impact, I believe, on the history of the world than any preceding American generation ever. Have you thought about that? I promise you that. That means you start grabbing onto every opportunity that life gives you and you start taking risks every day. If you aren't uncomfortable, you aren't progressing, and you aren't contributing. Your life to this point has been about doing what felt right, about fitting in, about doing the logical, the sensible, the comfortable. That ends today. From this moment on, you'll be defined by how uncomfortable you are willing to get. I predict that your generation will not have it easy. You may have to fight all. You may have to be willing, as our founders were, to risk your life, your fortune, and your sacred honor. But remember that there is honor in the fight. It might be dirty. It might require that you surrender more than you had hoped when you don't want to surrender it. And it might even turn out that you are regarded a fool. But you'd be in good company. Because ultimately, when God calls, if you answer, there will always be glory. And by the grace of God, if you rise up and you find power, remember Lincoln's amazing wisdom. Nearly all men can stand adversity. But if you want to test a man's character, give him power. How will you handle the power in your life, graduates? Because that will define you. But also remember to live well. Mark Twain, another great Missourian, said this: life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. And never regret anything that made you smile. Because 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, and discover. William Woods has taught you how to learn. They've given you that gift. Now it is up to you to open it up and figure out how it is you will use that knowledge to think. Sometimes, for me anyway, it requires that I truly humble myself and remember all the stupid things that I thought were true in my life, like that it was okay to get in a cargo van alone with a bunch of frat boys who said they were going to take me to give a bunch of blood. Not the smartest. Sometimes I have to spend a lot of time listening to my enemies. That can be very unpleasant. Listening to your enemies, not fun. But we learn more when we listen than when we talk. And I believe that we can force ourselves to be humble enough to always entertain the idea that we might be dead wrong in what we believe the most. Do you do that? Then we'll know what to do when power comes. If you can keep that humility, I might be wrong. I might be dead wrong in the things that I believe the most strongly about. If you can keep that humility, I promise you, you'll be able to handle the power when it comes. And when that moment comes, if you find yourself staring down at the death of freedom, being made a fool, or forced to stand alone in your fight, you be brave. Remember that it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. Roosevelt said, the credit belongs to the man who actually is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again. Because remember this, there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best, in the end, knows the triumph of high achievement. May God bless you with knowing the triumph of high achievement, or who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. May your place never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory or defeat. I hope that you know them both very well. So get up, eat breakfast, go humbly and boldly, live the truth, because the truth is this: America still is the land of the free and the home of the brave. But we are only free for one reason, and that is because we are brave. And America is only great for one reason, and that is because she is good. And humans are only good for one reason, and that is what comes from God. So always be ready for what happens after breakfast. And stay brave, stay good, graduates, and you will always stay free. God bless you. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you, Gina. We certainly appreciate you sharing this occasion with our graduates. And as I said, it's always exciting for me to see one of you go out into the world and be as successful as you have been, and as some of you will be. Now, if you listened to her words carefully, and I know most of you did, it was a heavy message. So I'm going to lighten you up a little. And I told this to some of the kids that I work with, and I told it last night at our reception, but it's worth sharing again. Gina mentioned her book, as she said it, what women really want. If you look at the book, it's what women really want. I mean, that really is out there. So I thought, well, you know, I should read her book. She's coming. I got the book. I read the book. Put it on my coffee table. She mentioned she'd been married how many years? 25. I've been married 48 to the same man. Had the book on the coffee table. The same man, who's a good old Mississippi guy, you know, as easy as they come. And we're total opposites. But he walked by and he looked down the book and he said, Janae? I said, yes. He said, is there something you'd like to share with me? And I said, yeah, read the book. But thank you. It's a great read, and I remember the breakfast. I remember the breakfast part, so thank you very much. Okay, kids, we're getting close. Mr. Dale LaRue of the University Board of Trustees will present the graduating class of 2015.
Will the graduating class of 2015 please stand? In accordance with the unanimous directive of the Board of Trustees, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as a member of the Executive Committee of the Board of Trustees, it is my esteemed pleasure to bring you greetings, graduates, to welcome you and to direct the president to confer upon you the appropriate degree.
By the authority vested in me as president of William Woods University and by the state of Missouri, I take great pleasure in conferring upon each of you the degree to which you are entitled with all rights, honors, and privileges appertaining. My warmest congratulations to you all and to the parents, families, spouses, and friends who have supported you in accomplishing this most worthy achievement. We will now proceed with the awarding of the diplomas to this year's graduating class, and Dr. Frankman will call the candidates to the platform. To the audience, we respectfully request that you hold your applause until all of our graduates have received his or her diploma. This will ensure that we progress in a timely manner and will give each individual the honor that they deserve. It is disturbing when a family cannot hear the name of their graduate when called because of applause or other noise. So please, trust me, I will give you an opportunity to celebrate. But we do want to hear their names, and I generally like to say a few words to each graduate as they cross the stage. So we ask that you wait, please. This is a joyous occasion because no degree is achieved alone, and we know that you wish to share in this celebration. We invite family members in attendance, if they desire, to stand as your son, daughter, spouse, parent, or grandparent proudly receives his or her diploma. So as their name is called and they walk across the stage, in the family, if you would like to stand, just so you can have that eye contact, we encourage you to do so. Dr. Franklin.
Doctor of Education, Michael Fannin Cates. Dissertation title, Carl G. Young's Personality Typology and Job Satisfaction of Southeast Missouri Classroom Teachers and Building Principals. Dr. Caroline Boyer, Chair. Lennis Basham. The effect of professional development on student achievement. Dr. Betsy Tutt, Chair. Amy Shaheen Herman. It's about relationships, a utilization-focused evaluation of the influence of advisory on high school students. Dr. Doug Ebersold, Chair. Education Specialist, Cynthia Scroggins. Holly Maureen Broadway. Master of Education, Bobby Lynn Grant. Ashley Shanae Hammett. Krista Misoon Smith. Heather Aldrich. Brandy Michelle Lair. Jennifer Lynn Tellman. Danielle Nicole Sheldon. Kaylee Elise Hempton. Abigail Priscilla Clybaker. Evelyn K. Arnold. Rebecca Elena Ferguson. Autumn Nicole Bennett. Tracy Elaine Owens. Ashley Jewel LaFave. Jennifer Rebecca Carnahan. Heather Lynn Bauer. Shay Ann Dobbs. Catherine Lynn Biggie. Priscilla Lee Calvert. Margie Lee Hoskins. Adrian Nicole Lieber. Emily Louise Custer. Amy Beth Ulrich. Suzanne Frances Hickman. Elizabeth Haven. Jessica Marie Zing. Megan Marie Ablin. Rebecca Joy Elslager. Alyssa Eileen Facchini. Megan Marie Aubuchon. Sarah Christine Weatherby. Michelle Taylor. Sean McKinley Morris. Master of Business Administration, Jennifer Lynn Ogden. Rebecca Ann West. Cynthia Marie Linville. Kristen Elizabeth Credemeyer. Jeffrey Scott Thomas. Lauren Kaylee Snyder. Nicole Danielle Myers. Ashley Gross. Adrian Noel Mills. Destiny Dawn Chilton. Jessica Dawn Lubert. Beth Ann Lambert. Misty Marie Lay. Chad Thomas Heron. Nathan Allen Lamberson. Mariah Elizabeth Folsom. Lucas Charles Watson. Sally Jane Bollinger. Lacey Allison Ives. Amy Nicole Faust. Lacey Morgan Floyd. Ariel LeMay Flood. Felicia Michelle English. Bronson Matthew Cribbs. Kellen Broderick Bonus. Seth Perkins. Daniel Joseph Bones. Brian Kevin Hoey. Tanya Lynn Keith. John Wilson Newguest. Bachelor of Arts, Jessica Marie Gifford. Dana Elaine Gibney. Catherine Ann Marie Hare. Caitlin E. Eikenberry. Megan Elizabeth Cooper. Erica Lane Nemick. Jonathan Corey Meyer. Cassandra Karen Davidson. Mitchell Lee Winter. Mary Margaret Catherine Hunter. Travis Joseph Jordan Green. Joseph Patrick Merlati. Julian David Taylor. Margaret McCarver. Emma Grace Tosher. Christopher James Brooks. Lily K. Davis. Brittany Nicole Lenhart. Denisha Charday Rice. Morgan Brianna Westhuse. Cassandra Lindsay Kennedy. Catherine Rose Ifrig. Bachelor of Fine Arts. Bachelor of Science, Reed Austin Schmidt. Jordan Bernard Fleming. Haley Michelle Tolson. Monica Elaine Rothermick. Kayla R. Schmeling. Kyle Hendricks. Scott Allen Barker. Benjamin Joseph Strum. Andrew J. Housewright, Jr. Anna Lee Williams. Jacqueline Sylvia Moore. Melanie Marie Bonk. Andrea Xiomara Garcia. Victoria Rose Berlin. Catherine Priscilla Carney. Julie Michelle Shear. Grace Victoria Fritz. Casey Lynn Scharnhorst. Caroline Marie Sicht. Samantha Michelle Parsons. Dylan Scott Klein. Dylan James Hastings. Cody Ronald Stewart. Jim Ball. Dustin Joseph Kramer. Austin Baxter Clapp. Brandy Michelle Evans. Kaylee D. Campbell. Rachel Ellen Lindblom. Trista Helena Ruckman King. Jessica Elizabeth Reese. Maria Vasiliava. Quentin Joseph Salin. Brian Lee Watkins. Marcus Charles Schmidt. Austin Lee McBride. Christy Lynn Varnador. Jessica Casey. Katrina Deering. Nicholas Joseph Vokes. Cruz Mitchell Buchanan. Alexander John Steer. Nathan Alexander Bittner. Matthew James Helly. Dontre Gerard Jenkins. Andreque LaJoyce Quinine. Greg Patrick Hamrock. Jeremy James Ahillen. Stephen Simmons Kohler. Michael Boris Vinitsky. Adam Eugene Brush. Melinda Lynn Johnson. Bonnie Elizabeth Locker. Eric Scott Emerson. Shannon Kate English. Ashley Marie Dennis. Susan Michelle Ross. Sarah Ann Leach. Daniel Marvin Jones. Vanessa Ann Shreve. Kayla Rose Cardinal. Kylie Joy Elliott. Jamie Palermo. Casey Lynn Kesselheim. Sarah Suzanne Crispin. Abigail Elizabeth O'Meara. Ashley Margaret Jean Decker. Stephanie Ann Copeland. Brittany Page German. Katie Danielle Bennett. Danielle Kathleen Mickelson Wilson. Jessica Mariah Wheaton. Emily Rose Spilios. Sierra Grace Schmidt. Shannon Lynn Yetton. Allison Taylor Strickland. Melissa Scott Chatto. Catherine Ellen Bilski. Stephanie Marie Bellman. Paige Alexandria Stewart. Bailey Kristen Peterson. Lindsay Renee Cornelius. Kara Lauren Eikenberry. Shelby Jean Patterson. Samantha Jo Elizabeth Riley. Mary Jean Elizabeth Lawton. Catherine Ann Hodges. Emily Lynette Nichols. Shamana Cole. Courtney Annalise Schill. Melissa Noel Vanderstein. Michelle Janine McQueen. Vanessa Violet Davidson. Elizabeth Joyce Cummings. Madeline Merle Emmy. Sarah Elise Seidel. Luca De Rossi Strader. Alan Graham Matthew. Jacob Thomas Hawes. Kevin Michael Rice. Dylan Francis Snyder. Sebastian Burridge Leo. Yvonne Bodul. Valerie Rose Melzinger. Sariana Young Lee. Jessica Lynn Ganaway. Kendra Leanne Moyles. Dawn Yvette Barnes. Felicia Joyce Murray. Melissa Gail Winchester. Haley Elizabeth Bowler. Rebecca Holly LaBelle. Mary Lee Worsham. Taylor Joe Bonnet. Leanna Mae Sanders. Teresa Ann Hickman. Peyton Alexandra Finley. Nicole Kristen Grainlow. Adiana Ayala. Mark Nathaniel Webb. Associate of Arts. Jennifer Miller. Valerie Sue Seebacher. Victoria Louise Winkler Gilbert. Kristen Diane Edwards. Tasha Danielle Becker.
new graduates to please stand and let us recognize you. Two-way street. So I would like for the graduates to keep standing and ask everyone else to be seated. And graduates, I'd like for you to turn around and thank those who have supported you in this endeavor. And before you sit, I'm going to stay where I am, but ask you to thank the people behind me who have really encouraged you, supported you, and made sure that this moment for you is possible. Your faculty. And now, you may be seated. Those of you who know me well know that I'm not going to let you leave without a few words of wisdom of my own. So take a few moments, take a deep breath. You are now officially, all of you, alumni. You have the diploma, finished the degree. It's time to rest for a second. So I take great pride in welcoming all of you, the faculty, the staff, all of the friends, all of our guests, and you, the graduating class of 2015. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to share what sincerely is one of the most significant moments in your lives. What you have accomplished will set you on the path for the future. Your focus on this goal, your ambition, your sacrifices, and the tenacity you have shown in achieving your degree speak well not only of you, but of the family and the friends, and sometimes the community who have prepared you for this singular moment. As you graduates certainly know, nothing worthwhile in life is easily achieved. Every one of you here this morning has worked very hard to achieve this degree. In fact, many of today's graduates have earned their degree through our graduate, evening, and our online programs. You've had to balance your continuing careers, some semblance of a family life, in many instances complete with traditional family obligations, against the full-time pursuit of this degree. A special welcome to the cohorts from Caruthersville, Chillicothe, Columbia, Dexter, Eldon, Florissant, Fulton, Hannibal, Higginsville, Jefferson City, Joplin, Liberty, Mansville, New Madrid, Rolla, Springfield, Troy, Union, and Unionville who have joined us this morning. Institutions of higher education, including William Wood University, must educate graduates for careers that presently do not exist. It is a challenge. One might say, and certainly our faculty would agree, a welcome challenge to prepare students for an uncertain future in an unfamiliar world. And we are doing that. The positions and the career paths many of you will take did not exist 4 years ago when you first came to us, if you are an undergraduate today. And the ones many of our freshmen will take upon their graduation in 4 years do not exist today. It is a challenge for us in higher education to educate you for your future. Society, too, is in a whirlwind of change. Our role is to ensure that our graduates are prepared academically and socially to the best of our ability to live the rest of your lives to the best of your ability. As you do so, here are some things to keep in mind. call these 20 things. Some of these are quotes I've kept through the years, but there are 20 things I would say to my 20-something self. And that, my friends, was a few years ago. But I was there, and had I thought about these things, when you are where you are, I don't think my life would have changed a whole lot, but it might have been a little easier every now and then. So listen carefully. Number one, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. I have visited with you, several of you, throughout the last couple of weeks, and you're talking about your future, you're concerned about your future, you want to get there immediately. You talk about how other people have progressed. You are beginning. Don't compare it to someone else's middle or end. Number two, live life to express, not to impress. Number three, the road to success for 99% of the people isn't a jump. You don't just get there. It's a steady incline from one successful project to the next. 4, when you let go of what is not working, you make room for what does. And you need to let go. 5, you will never feel ready. Always a little hesitation. But you are more ready than you realize, or else the opportunity would simply not have presented itself. 6, you are stronger and more resilient than anything that can happen to you. 7, 2 things define you. Your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything. I particularly like that. Your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have it all. 8, the experience is the reward. Take the time to enjoy the journey instead of just racing to the next thing. 9, accept that things happen for you, not to you. 10, it is okay to not know the answers. You learn the way on the way. 11, life is a constant balance of holding on and letting go. Be sure that you do both. 12, your happiness is not a destination or a place to get to. It's a choice you make in each moment of your life. 13, it is not about how much we have, but about how much we enjoy. That's really is true happiness. Not about how much you have, but how much you enjoy. And 14, the more you value yourself, the less you will feel the need to seek outside approval. 15, beauty is measured by the ability to be yourself, not by what the world expects you to be. 16, eventually all things fall into place. Until then, laugh at the confusion. Live for the moment and know everything happens for a reason. 17, success comes from having dreams that are bigger than your fears. 18, and I truly, truly believe this, lead a balanced life. Live a life where you continue to take time to study and to learn, to work, to love, to worship, and to play in the proper ratios, but get them all in. In short, set your priorities and balance them carefully. 19, it can be lonely at the top, and many of you will be there in a few short years. So it can be lonely, but success is also very rewarding. It is often accompanied by difficulty. Learn to recognize your true friends and learn to live with those who are envious or critical. They will be. You will have people who are envious. You will have people who are critical. Learn to live with them, but also recognize your true friends. The secret? Live your life so that no one will have a reason to believe your critics. And I want to say that one more time, and I want you to think about it. Live your life so that no one will have reason to believe your critics. And 20, the longer you wait for the future, the shorter it will be. Here at William Woods, we try to provide our graduates with the built-in flexibility to grow and to adapt in a rapidly changing world, and it is rapidly changing. You will go forth from here better prepared to meet life's challenges. But what you do with that preparation is up to you. Do not just observe life. Be a participant. Be a leader. Be a follower. Be willing to make the tough decisions and be willing to accept the consequences. Throughout my professional career, I have closely examined the characteristics of those people that I would classify as high achievers. While they have a variety of attributes, they all have 3 traits that distinguish them from their less successful counterparts. They are prepared, they continue in their personal growth, and they have direction. They're prepared, they continue in their growth, and they have direction. Some of you here today are progressing in your career aspirations, while others are anticipating the beginning of your professional life. For each of you, your success is the culmination of direction, determination, and drive. Although you have each made an individual contribution while here at the Woods, there's a group of you who have given me special advice and support, and to whom I am particularly grateful. In many cases, eternally grateful. You saw this morning the young men and women who escorted our platform party in, and they're now sitting on the front row. They are members of President's 20. Some of them have served me for a couple of years already, but there are several of you in this graduating class who will no longer be members of President's 20. But you have met with me regularly throughout the year to share our challenges and to share our success, to facilitate change and to monitor progress. You are the 7 members of this graduating class of President's 20, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your assistance that you have provided to me in so many ways. So thank you to Stephanie Bellman, Stephanie Stan, Stephanie, Katie Bennett, Vanessa Davidson, Jamie Palermo, Caroline Sick, Ben Strum, and Morgan Westhues. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Lucas Watson, who's been a graduate assistant for the President's office, and he's also served as President's 20 advisor. Today, Lucas received his Master of Business Administration degree. Where are you, Lucas? You're out there someplace. Lucas. His Master of Administration degree, and he will be leading us to work with Cerner in Kansas City. It's so much fun to watch your careers take shape. Just last night, we had a reception, and President's 20 was helping me with reception, and I kept saying, there's a member missing. Where is Morgan Westhues? So we're all texting, trying to find Morgan. Where is she? She's not here. Well, they said, she's a senior. She's out probably partying. No, that doesn't get it with me. Well, this morning, I learned where Morgan was. She was talking with the 3rd law school that she had applied to, and the one she really, really wanted to go to, the University of Missouri. And so she is now entering law school at Mizzou. So congratulations to you. To miss that reception. But you all will have stories to tell, just like I talked about earlier. Some of you are beginning, some of you have been in your professional careers, you have new degrees. Tell the story. I am proud of all of our graduates, all of our seniors, both what you have accomplished here at the Woods and for what you will achieve in your future. And I'm equally proud of those who've achieved this success from afar, our cohorts and our online students. What life holds for you depends on the continuous stream of your experiences. What you have accomplished here is simply a dress rehearsal. Your future awaits. So I, along with our faculty and staff, are going to miss a great many of you. You have made your mark on William Woods, and you take a part of her with you when you leave this morning. And though there are others who are waiting to take your place in our lives, it's never quite the same. We've enjoyed you, we have appreciated you, we're going to miss you. So I thank you, all of you, for sharing a brief moment of your life with us. And we look forward to great anticipation in sharing your success in the future. H. Jackson Brown is the author of the New York Times bestsellers Life's Little Instruction Booklet. This successful writer said, "Success is getting what you want. Happiness is liking what you get." Keep that in the back of your mind. May you, the graduating class of 2015, achieve both success and happiness. Your future awaits. As you leave today, I have but one final request. Stay in touch. You are the reason that we do what we do. So keep reminding us of how successful we have been, because you're going to be successful too. Thank you very much. Loved having you here. Come back, keep in touch, and remember, your future awaits. The 145th commencement of William Woods University is now adjourned. I would ask the guests to please remain seated until the platform party, the faculty, and the graduates exit the auditorium. Thank you.